guys. Welcome back to just another rant. And it has been very, very long. Actually, like, not that long, but like a month or something like that, even more than a month since the last episode. And we are very sorry for the short time, that we're not active. There's no excuse. We were just lazy and uninspired as always. But here we are back. This one is not going to be a light-hearted episode. It's going to be quite a heavy start because we're going to start it. We're going to start this episode with a post that we find very problematic and offensive. Oh, I totally forgot to introduce myself. I'm Queen.
No, it's fine.
You forgot who I am. I'm Queen, and I have Mai here with me. Please say hi.
Hi.
So yeah, this is us. Give you a little bit of context though, in case you forgot, because it's been a while. So Mai's in Vietnam, and I'm here in the States. I'm stuck here because of COVID. Don't know when I'm gonna be back. So, but we're not exactly we're not really in Vietnamese kind of media realm, so we don't really know. But recently there's a post by a famous TV personality. Her name is Trac Mieu, and what was her post, Mai?
It is entitled để yên cho tôi làm đàn bà, which basically means let me be a woman, like leave me alone, let me be a woman, like don't leave me alone, something like that. Which is already very problematic because like nobody is telling you to transition to be a man. And this is a very stupid anti-feminist post that she for some reason decided to post in the month of March, which is Women's Rights Month. And we're gonna summarize it a little bit later, but basically what she said in this post is that feminism has gone too far. Women belong to the kitchen. I want to cook for my man. Like, don't try to liberate me from this. Like, I love this. Don't try to turn me into your crazy feminist fellows, which is very problematic. And we're going to talk about that very just a little bit. But before anything, I just want to check in with you guys, like how you guys are doing, like has it been for you guys? It has been pretty busy for us here.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I'm gonna join you today, drinking some tea. I'm having some Vietnamese tea to for my culture points. And yeah, I hope it gives me some more insight to talk about the all of the issues that this post raises. And also, we're not going to just talk about her because I want to give her free PR. We're going to talk about feminism in Vietnam, the response to her post, and especially the activism in Vietnam that we have seen, especially on Instagram, and what are some of our problems with it. This is not supposed to be, very comprehensive, very exhaustive, like list of problems or list of solutions. It's just, a very lighthearted. Here are some of the things we've seen, and we just want to voice our opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
And
we will try to be respectful, but like we might go off at directly Mieu post because I'm still very annoyed by that post, and I
mhm.
still can't believe she has not deleted it yet. Like, what the hell? Anyways,
Okay,
first
so
of
we're gonna
all,
go right into the post.
yeah,
So the post is entitled "The Into the Land," which means "Let me be a woman," "Leave me alone," "Let me be a woman," something like that. And in this post, she basically raises these points. So first of all, she said, this story, the conversation revolving women and the kitchen is a story that is as old as time, right?
mm-hmm.
And it is just, something for journalists or angry people on Facebook or Instagram to vent about, and does not have any kind of importance. Second of all, she claimed that cooking or being a housewife or doing house chores are somehow a privilege for women, and they should be very happy to um, have access to this. And then she went on to say that if you don't understand that joy, if you don't understand the joy of cooking, the joy of doing housework, something like that, you don't have the right to discuss this issue, which is really dumb, very gatekeeping, very dumb. And then lastly, she also said that um, I that she really loved cooking. She really loved doing, traditionally feminine things, and please don't um, liberate her from this. She doesn't need anybody to liberate her. She's already a successful woman, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a privilege for her and also for other women. Uh, and basically, she said activism has gone too far, and people who, trying to fight for equality, especially feminists, are going too far and are doing like basically unimportant stuff that doesn't really need to be focused on. And we have a lot of criticism for this, but I think the post in response voiced most of um I
What?
our concerns and also
Mm-hmm.
our um uh criticism. So I wouldn't say I would highly encourage you to check out the post made by Nguyễn Phương Mai. I'll leave a link to that below, and you can read it. It's in Vietnamese, obviously, but I think if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I think you speak some sort of Vietnamese. So yeah.
It's like I feel like it's what makes me angry is that Jack Mieu has such a big sphere of influence, like compared to us, let's say, and even like some of the more popular activist not fan page, like uh the more popular activist account in Vietnam, like she is significantly just more influential in terms of like followings and engagement, and she just decided to put out like a post to push back progressive such a progressive movement, and she did that as a woman, like it's just like come on, like if you don't have anything nice, like please don't say anything. You don't have to showcase to everyone that you're stupid, honestly. And I feel like, like it's just kind of sad that a lot of the times these kind of celebrities or influential people are kind of dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially with Vietnam showbiz. I'm not
I
saying,
mean, I'm
like,
not trying to generalize, but it's kind of
well,
true.
if you watch, like, there's sometimes I get recommended shows like Vietnamese, like kind of like talk show or something similar, um, variety show, I guess. And there's a lot of like homophobic, misogynistic, a lot of things going on, and like with all these shows, and the way that they try to seek laughter from people, kind of like a lot of it just stem from like xenophobia, and like there's just that's not it. But that's another conversation for another day. I'm saying it's kind of sad that a lot of many of these influential people, celebrity in particular, are not well educated. And I'm not saying this because like they didn't go to like a reputable institution, they didn't go to like med school or anything. That's not what I'm saying. It's like before they speak, they don't do their research, especially when it comes to something as serious and as important as feminism. They kind of just surround themselves in this little bubble. Just like if you can see from Jackie Mieu post, she is speaking about this objectively. So it's like she's a successful woman. She doesn't really see that not everybody has the choice that she has, and feminism is about fighting for women having the choice, and she was granted the choice because she's in the position that she is, but not everybody is in that position, and she's talking as if like everybody has the same opportunity to success, and that's problematic. And yeah.
Yeah, like her post is like so tone deaf, Like not everybody has the right to choose to be in the kitchen like her. A lot of people are being forced into the kitchen, are being forced into doing housework, unpaid housework, and they don't really have a voice, they don't really have a choice. And to say that, oh, I have the choice and I love this, so like you guys should just stop doing activism. It's just so tone deaf. It's just so out of touch with reality. I mean, she's a successful woman, live in the city, doesn't belong in any marginalized group. So of course she has the right to choose a lot of things in her life. She has more agency of her life than a lot of women in Vietnamese society. And her complete ignorance and disregard for other Vietnamese women is just, I don't know, is that disrespectful? Is that dumb? Is that uninformed? Is that uneducated? I don't know. But it's a lot of things, and we certainly don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the other problem we have with this post is that the way that she writes it, the way that she voices her opinion, the way she formulates things, are just really disrespectful, really impolite. And when you're saying wrong things, when you are literally attacking somebody, not just somebody, just a whole group of women, when you are trying to push a progressive movement backward, and you're using this voice and you're using this tone, it's just not gonna sit well with a lot of people. Like, it's definitely not
so
sitting well with me.
condescending and
Very condescending, very dumb. And the most ridiculous thing is that at some point in her essay, quote unquote, she went on and talked about COVID, which is like, what?
Yeah.
What
How
is
does
that
that?
having anything to do with this? Like, oh my god, it's
Yeah,
so dumb. It's so
you,
dumb.
you can have your TikTok, but I'm not gonna take that away from you. Well, maybe I would because I'm vegan and I don't really do that stuff.
Mm.
But like nobody cares about your TikTok, but like eat that shit up. Like I do not care. But like also it's kind of funny how the response is just so nice. Like it's just like
Right.
incredibly nice. It's like um I respect your opinion and I love how straightforward you are. Um but I disagree with you a little bit. Just a little bit, and then proceed to write like 10,000 words on what she disagree with the original post, and I think it's
That
just so
is
funny.
not the kind of activism that I'm used to. Okay, so I'm gonna interpret it in Vietnamese. I'm having the text right in front of me. So this is the response from Nguyễn Phương Mai. Right,
Hmm.
I'm gonna read it to you.
Yeah.
Gửi bạn Trac Thúy Mieu. Mình đọc được một đoạn viết của bạn về phụ nữ và bếp núc. Mình rất thích sự thẳng thắn và nét viết dễ nể ai của bạn. Vì ý kiến hơi khác nhau một chút. Chúng ta cùng chia sẻ nha. Oh my god, like,
Come on, like
okay,
that's not why.
okay, it's ridiculously nice. I'm not trying to make fun of her, but it is ridiculously nice. It's
It's
so
just so
nice.
nice, and I think like that kind of like culturally that would sit well in Vietnam because like we wouldn't appear as like radical feminists who are like just pushing it
Mm,
too much, exactly like how Jack Mieu is portraying us. And yeah, culturally, I think that works in Vietnam. And also like people, like, it's also like kind of like this misogynistic idea that people gotta women gotta be like gentle and like nice. We can't really raise our voice too much. So the response post there's reflect that, but she's also saying like she's disagree with all these misogynistic points from the original post. So there's a nice contrast there. But it's just sad that like like the original post from Jack Mieu is very likely to be like a gateway for many people to feminism.
mhm.
Like many people who didn't really know what feminism was would learn from her that, oh, feminists are just these crazy ass bitches who just want to, lie down and not cook for their husband because they
Right.
they're just lazy. They will
The
have
way
that.
that she talks about feminists makes me feel like she's talking about dominatrix. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to dominate men. I don't want men to serve me. I don't want, to turn
Right.
men into women or
Hmm.
something like that. It's not the point.
Yeah.
Like, feminism is about giving women choices, the right to make decisions
Right.
about their own life,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And just from the way that she talked about feminism and the way that people in the comment section talked about how they agree with her, just show that
Yeah.
they did not take the 5 second out of their life and Google the definition of feminism. It's just
Right.
so clear.
Hmm.
Uh, and for some reason, like for them, feminism is just women who hate men. This is a man-hating movement, and that is so far from the truth, and that is so dangerous.
Yeah. Because like we love men, like obviously, like
No,
look at us,
100%.
love men so much. But like it just feminism is not about men, and essentially her post is saying feminism is about men, and you should be happy, serving your men because like in a relationship, you guys gotta be in harmonization. And I don't know what the fuck she was talking about because this was all over the place. But essentially, her post boils down to feminism is about men, and like it's not. There's no men in feminism. Like obviously, we cannot remove men completely from the conversation because there are men are just problematic and disappointing. But you know, like come on, like just don't do that. Like you're an influential person. Please don't do stupid stuff. Please take it down, delete it.
Right.
Yeah, and like I honestly don't think like why would she do that? Because it's not like she's gonna make money out of it or anything. Or maybe she is. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But
Maybe
like,
the
you imagine like
traction.
the young girls and young boys reading this, following this person, reading this, listening to this person, and this is the first thing that they see about feminism ever.
Yeah.
And that was so hazardous to the movement and to young people in Vietnam. I just don't know how she think it will be okay to post something like this. It's definitely not okay. So there are a lot of, um, like talking points that I want to break down in her post, and I think these are like super super common um, in the Vietnamese community, especially people who don't know that much about feminism. Okay, so first of all, feminists are just playing the victim, and we kind of see that in her post, right? She did not formulate that way, but you can sense it. Like you can definitely feel like she thinks that feminists are just playing the victim, which is not. A lot of people think that sexism used to be this big of a problem, but women have rich equality. They can vote, we can vote, we can have the same access to jobs, education as men. But that doesn't mean that we have equality, like I can be, at the same time thankful for the women before us who fight for equality, who fight for our right to vote, fight for our right to abortion, to education, etc. But it doesn't mean that I cannot fight for other stuff as well. There are a lot of things that we need to fight for. We basically had the institutional sexism down a little bit, but there are so many things in our culture that are inherently sexist and misogynistic. So we need to continue our fight. And just because we destroy, quote unquote, a lot of the institutional sexism doesn't mean that we cannot complain about day-to-day sexism, that we cannot complain about the condition of women in Vietnam, etc.
Yeah.
And I think people who make this argument, it's just so tone deaf. Like, second of all, very similar to the first one, I think a lot of people think feminism says that women are weak, which is not. We try to protect women. Doesn't mean that we're saying women are weak. And I don't think any feminists would say that like at all. Like just like I've never heard a feminist saying women are weak or something like that. And the most common thing, the most common argument that anti-feminists make is that feminists hate men, which is not true. Like, okay,
well,
example.
I hate men a little bit, because like just the men around me are not that great.
But like, here's the thing: we don't hate men because they are men. Right. We don't hate men, okay? We hate toxic masculinity. We hate sexism held by men. We hate misogyny held mostly by men, right? And
Yeah.
that's what we try to combat. And it's not men. If we really hate men, it would be so easy for us to just, I know, kidnap some men and torture them in the basement. Okay.
Oh God, that. Anyways, I'm
That's
just
very
saying,
dark.
we don't hate men. Just to clarify, this, and it's just weird to me how a lot of people in Vietnam that I've talked to. I don't talk to a lot of people, but you get the point. I talk to like, a couple people, and they have this kind of opinion, I guess. I don't respect that opinion, but like they think that feminism is about turning women into men to make women be able to do the things that is supposedly, a manly thing to do, and just for women to just don't do anything that is like traditionally feminine, and like that's not.
Right. Like,
That's
we are
totally.
feminists, not dominatrix.
Yeah, it's not.
And,
It's not that.
it's really not about that. And it's so harmful that there is the kind of narrative that is being perpetuated by celebrities like Trac with Mieu
Yeah.
on such a big platform like Facebook. Um, and I think, we're definitely not doing enough in school, in the education system, not doing enough like anywhere, and yet we're doing so much harm. Like, these people are doing so much harm to the community and to women and to men as a whole
Yeah.
on such a big platform, such
Right.
a big scale, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're thinking about this, like if this post is kind of validating misogynistic behavior from both men and women, it's doing nobody's any good. Like if we're imposing any gender roles on any on anyone actually, then it's not it's not doing anybody any good, and we're not getting anywhere. Just because you are in a better place than other people, it doesn't mean everybody's in the same place as you, and it doesn't mean that you get to dictate what is right and what is not. So
Right. I think this is just another, successful woman syndrome. Like, I'm a successful woman, so feminism is, not necessary for me. It does not serve me anything, so it should not exist. It should not exist.
yeah,
And I think that's so stupid because, like, just because you don't experience something, just because your experience uh is not the same as somebody, doesn't mean that their struggle does not exist. You
yeah,
know. And this, like, oh god, it's just so dumb. And I think the biggest, argument that she made in this post is that feminist means rejecting anything like traditionally feminine, rejecting gender roles, rejecting everything about women,
right,
which is not true. Again, and this is the kind of narrative that she is perpetuating in this post. That feminists are rejecting gender roles, rejecting traditional femininity, which is not true. For example, I'm a feminist, and I think I'm in so many aspects are traditionally feminine, and I embrace it. Um, you know, a lot of feminists are rejecting the traditional gender role of women because they don't fit in that gender roles, they don't fit in those boxes, and they want to liberate women. But that doesn't mean that they want to destroy everything, you know?
Yeah.
If you feel good being, you know, a housewife, being a traditionally feminine person, then be it. Nobody is trying to take that away from you. So it's really so trying to argue that feminists are trying to take something away from you. It's
Hmm.
just arguing in bad faith. Like nobody is making that point. Nobody is raising that conversation. Nobody is trying to do that. Like, and you know, I think this is very dangerous
Hmm.
because I feel like a lot of Vietnamese who are not familiar with feminism
Hmm.
hold this kind of belief, and this post kind of validated their opinion about
Right.
feminism, and it's just not true. It's trying to perpetuate something that is harmful for young people, especially young women, and also for men, for boys, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's also kind of supporting toxic masculinity, or
Mm-hmm.
or maybe imposing male gender roles as well on
Right.
males, and like it's not helping anybody. It's stupid,
Such
unnecessary.
a disservice to everybody.
Should have stayed in the draft. Shouldn't have
Right.
even, like I just can't believe she just wrote that whole essay and didn't proofread any of that, because like if she did, then maybe she wouldn't post it, because like she realized everything is wrong, and you know it would forever stay in the draft, and we don't have to see that.
So again, this is the story of, you know, activism in Vietnam. Is very different from activism in the English speaking world, very different from activism in the French speaking world, etc.
Hmm.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, you know, just activism and what some of the problems that we have with activism in Vietnam.
Hmm.
Not to say that we don't agree with everything that they do, it's just that there are a few things, just a few things, that we think could be improved, and you know, just a few remarks that we see here and there, and
Hmm.
we think um, are worthy of discussion. So first of all, what are, you know, some of your concerns, or what have you, like what are your impressions or feelings about um, activism in Vietnam, especially on Instagram, because we spend a lot of time on Instagram these
Yeah, that
days.
app is taking all of my time, but I feel like it's not relatable, and because I think um, a lot of these progressive movements are introduced to us from the West, so a lot of the sources and just like ways people familiarize themselves with the movement, it's through kind of like English speaking um, platform or media,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to relate that to Vietnamese people, because the culture is different and not everybody speaks English. And a lot of the time, the translation, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's awkward, because I don't think Vietnam, like in Vietnamese we have like the equivalent of the exact word for a few things, and when you try to translate that into Vietnamese, it just doesn't work, and
Right.
we just don't. The appeal of the wording in English just kind of disappear when you translate it into Vietnamese, and people would have a hard time relating to that, because yeah, it just it's hard to to make an impression on Vietnamese people if you're not really, you know, taking into consideration what would appeal to them and what do they need to know or what do they want to know.
Right. I think that is such a big problem because, you know, a really big thing about activism is that you should feel somewhat related to that story, to the story being told. You should see yourself somewhere in the story. And if you cannot really relate to it, if you cannot really see yourself in it or see anybody around you in it, it's gonna be very hard for you to empathize or sympathize with whatever the story is about. And I don't think we're doing the best job at it right now. I feel like it can be improved, and I have to say it has improved a lot recently, but I think we still need more. We still need a lot more. But also, I think one of the reasons why activism is not so strong in Vietnam is because of the culture. We are very non-confrontational as people, and we are not very comfortable about, you know, voicing our opinion, you know, from a very young age. We are educated into, you know, being just these silent sheep and not talk and to never talk back to, you know, grown-ups and to, you know, stay silent or something like that. And over time, it kind of become a habit, you know.
Yeah.
And we are not like even now. I have such a hard time, you know, raising my voice, voicing my opinion, expressing myself, because you know for the longest time I was educated. I was educated into, you know, silence myself.
Do you think it has something to do with us being introverts?
Maybe.
Maybe the extroverts would be different?
I don't know because I don't think so because a lot of our friends are extroverts, and you know I know this because I feel so just the way that we socialize just so different, and I just by just one look at them I know that they are extrovert. This just an anecdote, guys, that I feel like us, you know, us two are the only two people who are comfortable, you know, calling out people in our group of friends. And I think that kind of proof that, you know, doesn't really matter if you are introvert or an extrovert. Like the thing that matter the most to me is education. And when I talk about education, I'm not talking about schooling. I'm not talking about going to school. I'm talking about, you know, educating yourself, like doing the work, doing the reading, citing the sources.
Right,
things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're doing that enough in Vietnam. The other big thing is that, you know, we have such a big culture. Like it's so important in our culture to be, you know, ngoan, which kind of translates into English as how to say that?
Obedient.
Obedient. And you know, Vietnamese culture plays such a big importance on obedience that is arguably a little bit hard for Vietnamese to join in these movements and learn about these movements and be comfortable sharing their opinions, etc.
Yeah.
And you know those are valid reasons. Those are valid, you know, reasons, and that can be used to justify somewhat why people are so not comfortable doing activism or learning about activism, learning about social injustices in Vietnam, but that is not an excuse, you know? Reason
I
does
think,
not.
like education plays a big thing, but not just schooling, but like education is also about the attitude. Like you have to have this attitude that, like it's not like I know all or I know enough,
Right.
but like I want to know more. And I think um that kind of attitude is really important because um honestly a lot of these things I don't learn about it in school here even. And there's our just gray area within any education system, and it's important that our education system has to help the students to carry out an attitude that would benefit them long term, not just for the test. Because I think from what I've experienced, the 10 years I was in, the system in Vietnam, is that it's very much like test orientated. Like everything is about nailing the test and about making sure your grades are just on point. It's also like that here, but not as much. And there are other things encouraged as well while you're working on your grades. But in Vietnam, it's just crazy. And yeah, that's why a lot of young people are not interested in these progressive movements.
And this is a point we raised in one of our previous episodes that you can check out. But basically, what we are trying to say here is that there are cultural reasons why Vietnamese people, especially young people, are not interested in social issues, are not engaging with activism, are not trying to learn more about feminism, etc. There are a reason. There are many, you know, valid reasons that are tied to our education system to explain that, right? But
Yeah.
those are not excuses,
Mhm.
And but we can use that to further emphasize and understand Vietnamese people, the mindset of Vietnamese people, and therefore make better and do better activism. Um, and since we already talked about that, I think we can move on. We can move away from the education system. So basically, what I'm going to summarize a little bit. So basically, what you said is that activism in Vietnam, especially the activism that we've seen on Instagram, is not super relatable on the cultural level. Because taught to we are not taught about it in school, and we are not encouraged by our culture to be interested in activism and in feminism in so many other isms, um, and also because the
Right.
language barrier is a big thing, the culture
Mhm.
barrier is a big thing, but also because we are trying to translate so much from English sources that it lacks so much originality, it lacks
Right.
so much relatability, it lacks so
Mhm.
much Vietnamese-ness in it that it's so hard for a Vietnamese person who is not at all
Yeah.
used to this kind of activism,
Mhm.
used to these concepts, to grasp it, to
Mhm.
understand,
Mhm.
or to be interested in it. Like if
Yeah.
I were somebody who has never heard of feminism, I would not click on these Instagram slide about feminism because first of all, it's written in a style that is not very Vietnamese. Second
Mhm.
of all, it's not super relatable to my condition, my female condition in Vietnam, and
Right.
also it's a lot of words. It's a lot of words. Um,
And I think
And
like
you know,
yeah,
I have to give them credit because a lot of people are trying to change this. They are
mhm.
trying to
And I'm sure
give
it's
more.
hard to do the translation as well. And the
Yeah,
slides take a lot of time to put that together. Like I think the effort is just great, and I'm so glad somebody's doing it because I'm not doing it. But I think like with that much work they put in, they deserve so much more engagement. They deserve so much more traction, but they're not because I think the approach is not very effective. And I mean, I think like if they're trying, I think if you guys are on the progressive movement realms, you would probably know the Instagram page. So you want to talk about, or
mhm.
um, shit you want to talk about, like one of those two. And I feel like the approach with the Vietnamese page is very similar. A lot of the stories or facts are taken from So You Want to Talk About, and it's different because the culture is different. So it doesn't really work as well in Vietnam. We don't have the kind of audience that way. Young people in Vietnam has an attention span of 10 seconds. So you gotta grab that real quick and
I
run out the
mean,
door.
with TikTok right now, it's
Yeah,
like 7 seconds now. So
yeah, it's like 7, you know, you
it's
gotta
now
do
7
something
now.
quick. And like
And you know what? I think one of the other reason is that it's not super shareable either.
yeah,
Like,
just too many words.
I just want something that is super shareable, that's simple, and people just look at it and like they understand my opinion, or
Mm-hmm.
something funny. They just look at it and they have a good laugh because activism can be really heavy on your mental health sometimes,
Yeah.
and I don't think we're doing that enough. I don't think we have enough funny activism, integrating humor and just dark, especially dark humor, and
Yeah.
activism is so important because you know the the reason why I love dark humor is that there are a message in that, there is a dark story in it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I love about activism is that it is related to our lives and the life of so many other people, and it is making me smarter every day, and combining those two together is just genius, and we are not having that enough in Vietnamese um, media, social
Yeah.
media.
Right. I think like with something as new as activism in Vietnam, like that you gotta ease your audience in with some humor, because if you just kind of like go straight down with the facts and the very heavy stories, then people would have a hard time digesting it. But something as humor, I think dark humor is great because like it's not like making fun of the movement or making fun of the pain, but it is like it is pointing out what's wrong, and it's lighthearted so people wouldn't feel like, if they employ that kind of like like quote unquote wrong behavior, they don't feel like attacked, but they feel rather kind of like, I'm not saying enlightened, but they have like a better insight into the issue. And I think that's why dark humor is great.
Right.
In the activist realm. And we don't have that in Vietnam, not yet. Maybe, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe they need us.
Hmm.
Maybe.
They
Because
need
like
us.
if there's anything, then I think we are, we do employ dark humor. I'm not saying that we're funny people. We are funny sometimes, just sometimes. But if any of you are kind of activists in Vietnam that are but not really funny, you can hit us up, and maybe we'll have something funny for you. And if we don't have anything funny, then just pretend, right? It never happened. Yeah.
You know, like, I was just seeing this post about like introvert people. This is totally irrelevant, but basically, it's something that resonate with me so well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I can translate how funny I am in text into how funny I am in person,
Mm-hmm.
I would be a comedian.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
but it's such a
so
hard thing for me especially.
yeah.
But whatever, it's not related. Okay, so another thing about activism that we've seen on Instagram that we think, this might not be working
Mm-hmm.
is that they are like super polite.
Oh my God,
They're really
yes.
polite. I don't know. I don't know if that is working or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. Um, uh, but it's
They're
just
so
I
nice.
don't know. There's something about it just doesn't sit well with me because when somebody is making such an insulting or offensive argument about feminism, I want to make something that is just as sassy and clap back.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so like if I were to write, a response to Jack Mieu's post, it would
Mm-hmm.
sound like this. Like, okay, Jack Mieu, dear Trac Mieu, you are wrong. Here's 5 reasons why you're wrong. Here's 5 reasons why you should shut up. Here's 5 reasons why feminism is not what you think feminism is. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never go as super polite and ridiculously polite as this Nguyễn Phương Mai person here. I mean, I really appreciate her effort and her time put into this, and I really appreciate her thoughts, her opinions, um,
Right.
everything. But oh my God, like this is ridiculously nice.
Yeah.
Um, maybe she's just a really nice person and you cannot really help it.
I
Maybe
don't
we're
think so.
just, bitches that are mean. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
just are mean bitches
I
that
mean, like, honestly, like, I think, like, with the thing with activists in Vietnam is, like, a lot of the time they would respond to, like, an offensive post by, like, I respect your opinion, but here's my opinion. Like, I do not respect that opinion. Like, do they really respect that? Because, like, if you're a feminist, how can you respect any of that? Like, I do not respect that opinion. So I think, like, we gotta be straightforward. Because if you're just too polite and too mellow, are you really making a point? You know what I mean? Like,
right. So because I feel like when you know put put yourself down a little bit and try to be obedient, try to be subservient to
mm-hmm,
oppressors,
mm-hmm,
that kind of is what we are against, you know.
mm-hmm, right,
I don't want to be, super subservient to a racist or misogynistic, sexist man because that is not what I'm here for. I'm not here to take that.
yeah,
And I know my worth, I know my value, and I just don't have the time for that. And you don't deserve my respect. Like basically, no. But maybe this is a little bit different because the person who made this post is a woman, and Winfrey Mai is also a woman, and maybe she has some sort of sorority,
mm-hmm,
sorority, sorority. Is that a word in English? Sisterhood, right? We say sisterhood. Maybe she
mm-hmm.
has some sort of sisterhood for um Jack Mieu, and maybe that's why she's nice. She sounds super nice in this post.
I don't.
Uh, that's just my guess. I don't know. That's just my guess. But I don't think it's working that well, because when you
Yeah,
are super nice like that, people are not taking you that seriously anymore. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just this angry,
I
aggressive
just
feminist.
think that
Um,
with the harmful post, for example, like Jack Tweedy post, it attracts both sides of the argument. So it attracts people who are against feminism, and it attracts people who are for feminism. But with the response post that is like so nice and factual and just well worded, it only attracts the people that are already for feminism. Like people who are kind of feminist, curious maybe, but people who are against feminism wouldn't change their mind or get their opinion shaken because of the response, or if they care at all, to click onto the response post. So if you're being like, I'm saying too nice, then like I don't think the message is getting out there as effectively as it should. But maybe we're just like, bitches, and
maybe we're just like that. Like, I'm not saying that everyone should be aggressive. Like, everyone should be like change the way they talk. But I think it's kind of ridiculous that every activist page in Vietnam is so polite and like not aggressive at all, and not angry at all. Like, we're just like, that's kind of weird, right? Like, is this genuine? Is this niceness? Is this mellowness genuine, or they are trying to be genuine? I'm sorry, trying to be nice or trying to be mellow, just to not attract hate,
Right. Because
like,
I mean, like for the message to get out there, I think you've got to attract both sides of the argument, and you've got to accept that there are people who are just stupid and they will come for you. Just like,
but at the same time, I think it's not very fair for me to say that.
Yeah, true.
Because people on the internet can be really cruel, especially Vietnamese community. They are a lot of people have no responsibility,
Oh my God.
no sense of responsibility on the internet, and that is so worrying.
We gotta think about the mental health of the admin of those
So maybe
pages.
that's why they are so nice, so mellow. But maybe we just, I don't know. Like, I think just there should be
Maybe like be like not like aggressive, but like passive aggressive. That kind of nuance.
That's kind of my thing,
Yeah, that's my thing. I am very passive, but also very aggressive.
Right.
I'm only aggressive to my sister because I know I can do that. But in real life, I am very, very passive because I just can't talk to people. But yeah, I think I like that kind of passive aggressive, right? People would be confused whether I'm nice or whether I'm mocking them or whether I just don't care about them at all. And yeah, I think that would work. Maybe if you're doing any kind of activist work, maybe incorporate that into your work, and maybe that would be more effective to send your message out there.
You know what? Maybe I'm gonna summarize this. So in conclusion, what we are trying to get across is that trying to incorporate more emotion and feelings into your activism, because human emotions are so diverse, and the emotional response to any kind of text, or especially activist texts, are so diverse. So you cannot just be like this one, like monofaceted person, right? Yeah, like one dimensional tone. You cannot just use that one tone to talk to people. I think you need to incorporate more emotions into your activism, because it's very important. Like, anger is such an important part of activism, at least for me, because anger is just a natural response to injustice right?
Yeah.
And I not saying that you should not care about your mental health and be super angry, but that I think that you should just step out of your comfort zone and be a bit more,
Yeah.
passionate. Yeah, try to incorporate more passion into your activism. I think that'd be nice.
And
Not to
like,
say, again, we have to say this, we're not trying to say, not trying to change anybody. If you are mellow, if you are nice, if you feel comfortable writing that kind of post, using that kind of tone, you do you. Like, we're not trying to say that you should change anything about yourself. Just if you are ready to do that, if that is
mhm,
what you want to do
right.
not hesitate, you know.
Yeah. And I also think like personality and originality is also important to get your message out there, because I think people relate to stories, and also people relate to injustice um just better if it's something on a smaller scale, and and maybe, factual and numbers are important as well to prove your point, but maybe that shouldn't be the approach. you know there's stories gotta be, it's yeah, I think we just need to understand the audience. I think Vietnamese people are just very quick to make assumptions, and just, or maybe just people in general. But I feel like Vietnamese people are just more, I don't know what to say, like just
More
more
prone to that.
sensitive, more emotional driven, I think.
Hmm.
So maybe that um, would help with um, your work. And I don't know, it's hard because we don't have, I don't know, maybe I'm not researching this, but I don't think we have like researches into, or researches about all of these social injustice in Vietnam. It's not
Hmm.
very, we don't have the numbers,
Right.
particularly in Vietnam. So it would be hard for people to create like original content because we don't have the information. So maybe that would be hard. I don't know how to actually make it happen, but like maybe just choose the topic that you're translating, something that people could easily uh, relate to. Because a lot of these topics are just too foreign for um, Vietnamese audience, especially people who are just not familiar with the idea of like advocating for anything. So yeah.
Okay. Um, I know. Uh, yeah, so basically, what we say is, first of all, try to make it relatable.
Mhm.
Second of all, try to incorporate more emotion into your activism.
Mhm.
And also try to make it shareable.
Yeah. Something
That's
shareable.
really important.
Something as simple as like, like I don't know. I've seen so many and now like nothing come up on my in my head. Let's say feminism. Like, like don't tell your daughter to be careful, educate your son. Like that's very it's something very shareable, and it can go
Hmm.
viral easily
Right,
and people get
especially
the
is
point.
yeah,
It's
especially
very
we're in
straightforward.
March right now.
Yeah. It's very straightforward. It's shareable. People get the point right away, and I don't think you need to explain much about that, and it can just go viral. We don't really have that within like the activist pages that I've seen, and I
Hmm.
I also don't think like if you translate that into Vietnamese it would work. you know, the
Right.
language barrier is huge. So I don't do media in Vietnamese. I don't know how media in Vietnamese would work and with like wording and stuff. Maybe if you're a professional, you would know how to make it work. But I don't know. Like we just need like shareable content, something impactful, straightforward, to the point, and you know, like wouldn't offend people, or if they feel offended, then that probably say more about them than about the content itself.
Right. So that are some of our those are some of our um feelings,
Mm-hmm.
criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, if you're hearing some dogs,
Yeah. Mm.
it's
Every
mine.
single time the dogs, you know what? The dogs are just excited for this
I'm
podcast.
so sorry. Like my dogs are feminists, you know.
Mm. They just cannot shut up.
Hmm.
They can smell us talking about feminism from uh two floors below, you know.
Yeah, like, my
For
dog said women's right.
yeah, women's right. So
Women's right.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Like I
But
translated for
mm-hmm.
you. Okay. Oh God, like, so stupid.
But I think that's it. We've talked long enough. We cannot promise when we will come back again, but if you have any request for any topic, maybe comment down below or DM us, and we'll talk about it if we find it
Okay.
interesting.
Okay, so to close out this episode, I think I would leave I will give you some suggestions and recommendations as
Mhm.
to some of the activists that we follow, or not just activists, but some podcasts or Instagram accounts, etc.,
Mhm.
that we follow and we think are doing really a great job.
Mhm.
So first of all, I think I would really encourage you to follow um, Mieu Talks, which is a podcast about just about a lot of things. Um, and it can be very casual sometimes, but
Mhm.
a lot of time is also about feminism, because one of the subjects that really passionate, no, really inspired this host of this podcast is feminism and women's rights. And recently she posted episode on an episode on why she does not want children, and I think it's really good, and it's in Vietnamese, so yay. We
Yeah.
also follow a lot activist page
Mhm.
or accounts on Instagram. So, for example, Vid Activism or Vid for Change,
Mhm.
uh, or Vid Fem. Um,
Yeah. And then we will link the post that we mentioned down below for you to
yeah,
check it out yourself.
yeah, you
And
can
feel
check
the
it out.
anger.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I hope to see you in the next episode.
Mhm.
Not that I hope that we have like some sort of big audience, but we're doing what we can,
Yeah.
and this
Have a
has been
great.
fun.
Mhm. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.